This time, Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article Oz Edition. We're on Daf Ches and Rav, and we are 3, 6, 9, 10 lines down. Eilein Shishos Fekos, which is in the Vilna on Vav Amud Beis. Counting the lines above the Mishnah Balach Zayin, 6 lines up. So we said that in Usha, they were goyzer on the 6 Fekos Sreifa. Beforehand they were toila, waited till they rotted. In Usha, they decided we're all going to burn all of them. And where the Shishas Fekos? A suffix based on pras. Not a suffix of a base of pras, but as the core base says, Klomer house Fekos should base of pras on that suffix called a base of pras. Kol Truma Shnichlas a base of pras. The Truma which was brought into base of pras was Sadash above a kever, was feeling which a grave has been lost. We know there's a grave there. We don't know where it is anymore. And a suffix. That's a suffix. Lo yadin imeli al kever or lo. You don't know if you tented, the Truma tented on the kever or not. There's another interpretation that it's a field in which a kever was plowed under. We don't know if it was pulverized, so there's no tumor left, or there's still tumor left. That's one. About suffix Eretz Amim, the suffix of Eretz Amim. It says the call offer Eretz Amim is sapklan kever shomeis. Any offer Eretz Amim Chazal declared we have to be mesupik about it, whether perhaps it is from of the kever mason. That's why it's matami. Our suffix b'dei amoritz, and the suffix of b'dei amoritz. We're not sure whether his wife was in need or sat on them or not to make a tummy, and that's why the guard b'dei amoritz as medris. Medrash, when it says she says something for a pushing for people making a tumah, and then he brings down another parish that they made a gzeir on them. They should be considered zovin for all matters. So therefore, the big amoritz are considered to be zovin midrabanan. You burn so much came into contact with their garments. Our suffix roe cake and the suffix of a spittle of saliva. We're not sure if they come from a zav or not. Our suffix may ragle adam shuneged may ragle behema. So this is the this is taka, not the suffix of, but the suffix on. He says that may ragle adam may ragle behema. We're not sure if it's the urine of a human being, human or animal. Take a trace the kula. The two sfekos the kula. Suffix if the other was the suffix if it's from an animal or from a human being. If it's a human being, maybe that person was tor. Nevertheless, as he says, nevertheless they're machmir. And this fake sfekos, they're machmir, and they said you have to burn that too much came into contact with it. Avadai magon, should suffix to must and all these things when you definitely touch them, which is, even though they're only a suffix tuma, meaning the raisa, they could quite possibly a tor. The rabbanon were going to be suffix. A little suffix of truma. That is these are the cases where in Usha they made the decree that you burn truma which came into contact with any of these situations. Okay, halacha zayin. Hosi Rabbi Akiva had me made to Rabbi Chiya's going to call him in the previous Mishnah. I believe the Bible is one Mishnah. That the Moshe I think has also one Mishnah over here. Yep. Okay, so the Hosei Meim going from the day for all the days the Kohanim in the base of Mikdash. Loni num because the shemen shnivsa b'tful yom. They did not refrain from burning oil which came tummy with its full yom. B'ner shnitma b'tamid mace. With a nair which came tummy with tumas mace. Obviously, we'll see tumas, even though it's adding tuma on its tuma. So let's see. The carbon atom makes it pretty clear. That's a shlishi. Okay, so oil which tul yom touches a shlishi. Tul is really the raisa. He's tar. Rabbanan goes to tuma name. That it's a sheni tuma. He makes a shlishi. Uposo truly passes truma, but also so shlishi leolam loshna ochel loshna mashkin. And it doesn't matter normally if something tummy touches mashkin. Rabbanan does mashkin come a rishon with tuma. We're not here. And since it's Tful Yom, it only becomes a Shlishi Truma, even though it's a beverage, olive oil. So this is a Shlishi Truma. They burn it with Ner Shima Avatuma, with Ner Shima Teches Ire, so a metal candle. Shenaga Batumas Mace, Nasa Kamaisa. If it touches Tumas Mace, it becomes like it. Now, this is going with the sheet of that metal specifically becomes Tamei Chalav Harei Kacholo. That Tamei any specifically a metal keli becomes Tamei as if it is the Aviyavos Satuma. We're going to see a discussion of this in the Gemara. So. It says in the pasuk, in the casualty of a sword, the shinui darshan is cherev harei kechalo. And so it becomes like the casualty. Shacherev shnogam b'meis, the cherev which touched the mace, nasa aviyavos kameis atzo, comes the aviyavos atuma, like the mace itself. Shnogam b'tmei mace shu'av. So if the oil touched the nair, which can tell me tmei mace, which I'm sorry. The separate thing. When the metal touches a tamei mace, which is shu'av, nasa av. So then it becomes an av. That's what they keep the shemen shu shlishi. The oil which is shlishi goes touch the yom. Mutas of ner shu avatuma, you can burn in a candle, which is an avatuma. Ava bishanasa rishon, even though now it's kind of rishon. It's jumping up from a shlishi to a rishon. Oh, we heard from Rechinas kind of Kohanim that the Shlishi can make a Sheni. Though that was, of course, according to the Girsa of the Carbonated, the previous Gemara, not according to Mashbiach. But that for Shlishi can make a Sheni. You have to go back to yesterday's shir to understand that. But in any event, we certainly did not hear from Rechinas Kohanim they can jump up 2 levels. Wherever it was that Rabbi Chaim Kohen was matir, who's not matir this. Okay? The oil, yes, shem tov lo b'lachshin le'muto si b'yadayim. You can add from make a shlishi d'sheni, or you can make a daraisa, d'rabbanan daraisa, but not that you can jump up 2 levels from shlishi to rishon. That's the chiddush Rabbi Akiva. Okay, so to be according to Rabbi Akiva, you can light the shemen which became tamei with Tful Yom, which is shlishi, with in a candle which became tamei from a tamei mace, which is an of, even though you're making the oil into a rishon. Okay, jumping from shlishi to rishon. Okay, so the Gemara explains that the chiddush is going to do both Rabbi Yochanan and Bar Kapara. I'll die to Rabbi Yochanan. According to Rabbi Yochanan, Taman in the previous Mishnah, serving tumas Torah and tumas Torah. You're burning tumas Torah and tumas Torah. The vlad is the first truma became tamei with an avatuma, which is to raisa. The second truma became tamei with the vlad truma, which is also the raisa according to him. So therefore, it's you can burn tumas Torah. That's the chiddush Rabbi Chinas going to call him. What's Rabbi keep adding? Well, let's see psul Torah. He's going to adding a psul Torah, neither shlishi, which is only a puzzle, not actually tamei, because tamei is by definition something which is matami something else, and a shlishi by truma can't be matami something else. So it's called puzzle, not tamei. So you can be burn puzzle tumai and tumas Torah. That's what it's called Rabbi Yochanan. Al daite b'kapora, according to Bar Kapora, Taman serving tumas divrei and tumas Torah. The first Mishnah is going to let you burn tuma dorais dorabanan. So you can tell the vlad tuma with tuma dorais and you can tell me with avatuma. For hacha here, psul Torah. Here it's a psul Torah in tumas Torah. Okay, so it's a psul Torah with tumas Torah. So what's he? As it seems, it's less of a chiddush. Lo ba'alivchos is only coming to diminish the chiddush, because it's partial. If you allow burning tuma d'rabbanan with tuma d'raisa, here psul Torah with tumas Torah, it comes is an apoches. So I think I made a mistake in the Mishnah. I just realized it. The Tful Yom, which the Tful Yom in our Mishnah is what makes the puzzle d'oraisa, not puzzle d'rabbanan. I'm not sure if I said that wrong in the Mishnah. I probably did. So here the apostle is a psul Torah. Obviously, it's the case in the Mishnah here, right? It says I just realized that mistake. I'm sorry if I did. So here we see that psul Torah in fine. The first Mishnah said psul Torah in tumas Torah. Our Mishnah comes said psul Torah in tumas Torah. According to Bar Kapara, we already learned Tumah Rabbanu, Tumah D'Oraisa. What are you adding here? Psul to Torah, in Tumah Torah, is he not coming just to diminish the Chiddush? So Gemara answers, where I think I misspoke about in the Mishnah. Tipat is fully on base of Prash in Divrayim. He's a Tzful Yom and Tumah D'Rabbanan. He came to Tzful Yom, he went to base of Pras, and he came to Tumah D'Rabbanan. That was because that's the Rabban, the ones who goes in base of Pras and said you have to assume that you were mile on the kever, and you have to assume that the kever was not nechra, it was not plowed properly. So therefore, it's a tumah Rabbanan. And then he went to the mikveh, and now it's before nightfall, so you're full yom. But if I'm a tumah Rabbanan, and you touch the truma, and or whatever here it's talking about oil, the olive oil, and nevertheless, truma of olive oil. Nevertheless, you're allowed to burn that tumah d'Rabbanan, tumah d'Rabbanan, or the psul d'Rabbanan with the tumas Torah. That's the chiddush. Okay, so the chiddush is they allowed to Kohen Bar Kapara that you can burn psul d'Rabbanan with the tumah d'Oraisa. That's a big that's a chiddush because there it was the first Mishnah Chinas Kohanim. We learned you can burn a tumas Torah with a psul Torah. I'm sorry, tumas. You can burn tumas Torah with tumas Rabbanan. Right? Tumas Torah, some came to with Av, some came to with a Vlad. Here now it's saying that you can even burn tumas Torah with psul Rabbanan. Okay, even though it's only psul Rabbanan, it's not psul Torah, it's psul Rabbanan. Nevertheless, nevertheless, you can burn them together, which is even bigger chiddush. Okay. So again, according to Rabbi Yochanan, the chiddush is psul Torah and tumas Torah. It's between Yom D'Oraisa. According to Bar Kapara, no, even psul Rabbanan with tumas Torah. Okay. Okay. Now the next line, the Shari Teretz Yisrael says it's a mistake. It's just copied of what I was saying in the previous Gemara. We had it yesterday. There we gave two pshatim. We said that he said that even according to this halacha, even according to Beis Shammai, the Reichel is going to call him, and here he says that, or that he gave historical evidence from Beis Shammai that halacha that works according to Beis Shammai. For historical evidence that to Beis Hillel Shita, whatever we said yesterday, that the same line. Here, the line is much more difficult, and the Shari says just copy here by mistake, because we're talking about Rekiv and Rabbi Chinas kind of quoting. So therefore, by the line Rekiv is kind of quoting Shai Misham Beis Hillel is superfluous here. If you do learn it, so Mashbiach has his own shot based on what he said yesterday that it's that he's giving historical evidence. I wrote inside Gemara that it seems dachuk, so I'm not going to go through it. The Meichel Amain, the Aruch Shulchan writes that it's a question Rabbi Yochanan that Rabbi Yochanan says that you can that the Chiddush Mishnah is that you can burn a psul Torah and tumas Torah, right? So it says okay, that works for Beis Hillel, right? That because we had yesterday. That Beis Shammai says ain't serving basar Torah in basar tamei, based on material. So I understand that according to Beis Hillel, right, you can burn psul Torah in tumas Torah, but according to Beis Shammai, right. So if you hold that is kind of according to it's even going according to Beis Shammai, right, and the same according to Beis Shammai, no, you can burn the he's coming to say that. You can even according to Beis Shammai, you can burn psul. You can burn tumas, burn a lighter tuma with a more severe tuma. He's not going to hold that in our Mishnah. You can't hold our Mishnah because our Mishnah or our Mishnah Akiva cannot be going like Beis Shammai because Beis Shammai allows you to burn tumas Torah with tumas Torah, even though different madrigas, but Beis Shammai does not allow you to burn psul Torah with tumas Torah. We don't know how so maybe Beis Hillel does, but not Beis Shammai. So that which we said that. This is a question on Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi China's said that he's saying his halacha named Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. According to you, this second halacha, Rabbi Akiva, can't work out according to Beis Shammai. So therefore, Rabbi Akiva is must be arguing Rabbi China's not adding Rabbi China's So he was going to say halacha according to Beis Shammai, you can burn tumas Torah, even there are different madrigas, and that's not going to work out according to Beis Shammai. So therefore, Rabbi Akiva must be arguing, saying his halacha only according to Beis Hillel, not according to Beis Shammai. So that's okay. So so based on that, the next line is either according to Shai, so a new who takes out this line either a completely separate statement. According to the Mechal Mayim, seems to be a continuation. According to Mechal Mayim, the answer is Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Akiva Kedaite. Now, Akiva can even go like Beis Shammai because he is Kedaite, an opinion which is actually wrote down in the Bavli and Daf Yutes, and the Bavli rejects. That he holds Yitma Dvar Torah. He holds that a Sheni can make a Shlishi by Chulin, and a Shlish can make a Revi b'Truma, and a Revi can make a Chamishi b'Kodesh, because he darshins a ribuy of Yitma. I think it says it twice, Yitma. So therefore, no, even Beis Shammai because we're talking about Tumah D'Oraisa, because it's a Shlishi, but it's a Shlishi is also Revi, so it's Tumah and Tumah. Not Tumah Psul, Tumah. So according to this, according to Beis Shammai, you can't burn Tumah D'Oraisa with Pasul D'Oraisa. But he has to say about Tumah D'Oraisa and Tumah D'Oraisa. Just that Rabbi Akiva takes a step further than Rabbi China's. He says not only can you burn a Rishon with a Sheni, Rabbi China's said, or Rishon with a Shlishi, right? But which is, according to what the Gemara said, but even that which became tummy with a Tvul Yom, which evidently, not sure why, it should be the same Shlishi as the Mishnah before, evidently is a lighter Tuma. Evidently, again, not sure 100% why, but evidently because, by definition, if something touched something which is Mamish Tameh, a person's Mamish Tameh, it's different than something touching Tvul Yom, even though the net result is a Shlishi. But evidently, there's chilukim in shlishi. There's the shlishi which comes from Tumah Mamish, and shlishi comes just from a Tvul Yom, and to burn something which became shlishi from a Tvul Yom, even though it's Tvul D'Oraisa is not the same. It's a bigger chiddush than burning something which came from Mamish Davar Tamei Midoraisa. That's the answer to Mechal Mayim. I just saw, however, the art scroll also brings down from Reb Chaim. Reb Chaim also takes out. I don't have the actual Sefer Reb Chaim. I'm sorry, I downloaded a PDF for Hebrew books, but I don't look automatically at Reb Chaim the same way I look at a different Masechta. But he also takes out this whole line of Rechinas Kana Kohanim Shai Mishum Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. So Shai Toisol takes it out, and Reb Chaim takes it out. I think it's so safe to take it out. And if it's a separate statement, it goes very glad. Rabbi Mona Kum Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Mona and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Kiva Kedaita. Rabbi Kiva in our Mishnah is like his opinion. Rabbi Kiva Mar Yitmar Dvar Torah. He says it's something which is derived tuma, such as the nair which became tamei because of contact with a mace, is metame other things, the varaisa. Okay, so therefore, even though don't just need a source of tuma to be metame other things, even the derived tuma is metame other things. So therefore, this thing which is derivative tuma, the keli, is metame the shemen which is put into the nair, is metame the shemen which is put into it, and therefore it's upgrading the tuma. And therefore, it's metame the shemen more than was tame, and so you have to. It's a chiddush. You have to burn it together. Rabbi Shmuel argues with him, and it's a discussion in It's a Mishnah in the fifth paragraph of Saita. Even Rashi argues them and holds that there is no derivative of can't be Matame. It's not in all cases. I forgot the later Rabbi Shmuel Yitma. It's actually the Rosh is Yitma Yitame, right? It says Yitma twice as if it says Yitame. So even though it doesn't have Yitma Yitame, I think it's because it says it twice. Let me make sure about that. No, it's not because it says it twice. Sorry, it's because it says the pasuk says Chokli Chersa Shepo Mehem Otocho Kol Shebesocho Yitma. It says Yitma and doesn't say Kol Shebesocho Besocho Tamei. It says Yitma, so we darshan as if it says Yitamei, not that it says it twice. So it says, so we learn lesson of the extra yud teaches us this halacha. So, the first one understands again. Rakiv is the only one who holds the same, which becomes tamei, can be metamei, but according to Rabbi Shmuel, not. Says more, no, it's not true. Avgav later. So again, we'll do it again. Amar Kum Rabbi Yossi Kivaday Torah Kiv Amar Asher Yitamei Tvar Torah. Rabbi Yossi said Avgav later Rabbi Shmuel Yitma Yitamei Ba'ochlin. Even though it doesn't hold that food which became tamei can be metame other food d'oraisa. Islay Yitma Yitamei B'kelim. He holds that a keli which became tamei can be metame other things d'oraisa. So therefore, our Mishnah can even go in like Rabbi Shmuel, and the derivative tumah of this keli can even tell me other things as well. Okay, now this is not taking account. Doesn't take account the whole issue of chavarei kacholo. It seems that even though we said that explanation of Korban 8 in the Mishnah, it's a nice. Yerushalmi does not actually seem to be coming on to that. Yerushalmi says that it's a derivative tumah, and therefore should be metame. No, it is metame. So we have to see the next line. The Korban 8 and the article and others have a whole explanation here based on mashkin in the middle, having between the one substance and the other substance, and which is a lot. But I was going to say based on Bavli, but the Pnei Moshe doesn't go with that, and we're going to go with just the streamlined, simple shot, which seems to work out very well in the words. Okay, so now we have a new, related but new issue. Is tiny to make mace. In our Mishnah, some say to make mace, right? And is tiny ner shnitma bitmei I skip. Is tiny to make mace. Is tiny bitmei mace. So let's see the Kormeda. Is tiny is the time misleading there should nitma utmei mace. And it's mace. It's two separate things. Shenoga haner b'mace atzmo. Right. So the ner became tamei, right? I'm not sure why he puts in the vav here, but it became tmei mace. To touch the mace itself. Isaitai ner shnitma bitmei mace. Doesn't say it's about it became tamei in a tmei mace. In other words, according to one opinion, the ner touched a mace itself, touched the avia bostuma. According to the other opinion, Mishnah, it touched an avatuma. Okay, so I don't know if anybody changes it, makes the gersa different. No, but I don't see what the Kormeda to do in the vav. It's just East Tani. It's talking about a candle, which is the Tamei mace. In other words, it touched the mace itself. And East Tani beat the Tamei mace. The candle touched something which touched the Tamei mace. Madamar Tamei mace. He who says the keli came into contact with the mace itself. Bikli shetef. Now, according to Korban Eda, it's based on pasuk in Vayikra Tesvav and Bet Yud Beis. Kol kli eitz, which is Zor touches Yisha Tefa Mayim. So kli eitz is it can become Torah and mikvah, but it does become tummy. So, but we don't say chavarei kachol. So, if in order for there a chiddush Rabbi Akiva by kli eitz, it has to touch the mace itself, and then the kli eitz becomes an of, And when you put the shlishi into the of, so then it becomes a sheni. It becomes a sheni. Okay, so therefore that's the chiddush. Mahamar Tmei Mace, who says we talk about where the vessel came in contact with the Tmei Mace, talking about Klei Matchas, where we say Korban said that Cherev Harei Kacholo, and therefore it becomes Tomei Tumas Mace. It comes itself like an of, and therefore it's again makes the shlishi into a sheni. The Or Sameach, the Yerushalmi Meir Simcha, has a very powerful lashon here. He says that Harola Yerushalmi, so it's because Yerushalmi Yodeh Darko Derech HaKodesh, and knows it's Derech HaKodesh. And only Sakation is not stubborn. Muchrach is compelled to say Tov Sofri Nafal. There's a mistake here. So I'm going to be Kli Cheres. It's a Kli Cheres. Perish Kli Cheres. Ein Mekabel Tuma Rak Nasa Rishon. Right, it's a Kli Cheres becomes, it's not Mekabel Tuma, it only becomes a Rishon. Can Afi Mutame Mace, if it's Tame Mace, have a Rishon. Then it's Tame Mace is a Rishon, right? It can't become an Avatum at all. And Shemin Havi Sheni, the Sheni is the Shemin. Kamashlan, the Mishlishi now it's a Sheni. So it's going to tell us that from the Shlishi it becomes a Sheni. Man Marbit Tmei Mace, B'Kli Matchos. So the person says, it's talking about Kli, so it's Kamas can Imaner Nitma B'Tmei Mace, who Avatumah, Chavarei Kacholo. Kamashlan, the Mishlishi now it's a Rishon. And he's saying, so it's going, so the Shlishi becomes a Rishon. And then he goes on to explain it further. But then, of course, you have the problem. I mean, what's if the klicher is only rishon, and so it's going to make the shem and the sheni. So what's this Mishnah adding on to the previous Mishnah? So we have to go say it's going to make bar kapara, that maybe that is about the tfuyam d'rabbanan. So that's difficult. But what Meir Simcha does bring down, which is important, is that the Shitas of Rambam is that is that we say by all kelim, we say cherev harei kacholo except for kli cheres, not just by klei matchos, but by other kelim. And according to that, you could say that what it means here is that if you go take the girsa of the Meir Simcha, you could say, without this additional aspect that he says only comes to Rishon, you could say that, well, that's what it's saying here is that the Mandamar holds that it's talking about Tmei Mace, that the Meir itself is the Meir itself touched a mace, it's going by Kli Cheres, because by Kli Cheres you don't say Chavarei Kacholo. So it never goes down a Madrega. So therefore, it comes to Avatuma. If it touched Avatuma, it only becomes Rishon Tuma. It would be no Chiddush Rabbi Akiva. So everyone has to be talking about, if it's Kli Cheres, talking about where it touched the mace himself, and therefore it comes to Avatuma. But by Klei Matchos, even touched Avatuma, because it depends on Chavarei Kacholo, so therefore it actually becomes an of itself, and therefore then, so therefore it's going to make the shlishi into a rishon. Going back to the previous Gemara, that yitma yitamei. So obviously here the Gemara, based on this Gemara, you figure out what type of keli it's talking about, right? Even though Shimon says by keli we say yitma yitamei, but what type of keli we're talking about here? Of touch aviyavos, touch an of. That's what this Gemara is discussing over here. Okay, so anyway, even though yitma yitamei depends on what keli it is, what tumor we're talking, what tumor we're talking about, and based on that, whether Rabbi Akiva has a chiddush in our Mishnah or doesn't. Now, what we do get according to Rabbi Meir Simcha also is the next line of the Gemara is if we go assume this going to the Shitas of Rambam, that everything else is metame, we say except for kli cheres. The next line is very good. If you don't, the next line causes tremendous amount of problems. So my time. What's the reason why kli cheres you don't say chavarei kachol? We say but all the other kelim. So because it says by kli cheres chol kli pasuach v'gomer tamehu. It says kli pasuach any kli pasuach kli cheres which gets tamei even from tumas meis, right? So wherever it comes tamei, it's tamei. Tameu ve'enu nasa it becomes tamei. Ve'enu nasa avatuma tamei. It doesn't come out avatuma to be metame others. So that's it doesn't become. In other words, if it became, if it would be, if it was, we say charei kachol by klicheres, right? So it should become an avatuma, right? If just like any other kid that comes to avatuma, comes to avatuma, the klicheres should come avatuma, and it should be metame, but it's not. Klicheres touches another keli, it's not metame. Avir klicheres is metame, but not the klicheres itself. So we see that the klicheres doesn't come around matuma. It must be that we don't say by klicheres. Now, let me make clear there is a slight problem here, which even like this seems very clear. But the problem is that before we said that Rabbi Shmuel says we say yitma yitamei to me that a keli is that by kelim. The kelim can be matame other things, but that pasuk is by klicheres. Now Rabbi Akiva in Maseches Soita, in the Mishnah there on Soita, says, yeah, but that's talking about Oichlin. Oichlin are much more easy to be matame. He says, Oichel, we see that you can have a that you can be Oichel, that the klicheres is the derivatuma is matame Oichlin, is matame Oichlin, and we see that Oichlin can be called that. The derivatuma can also be matame. But it seems it's not the klicheres can be another keli, right? It says here yitma, it's tame, right? So that Rabbi Shmuel says yitma yitame bekelim, which you said before, it can't be on the draw that he has that way because of klicheres. So that's not true. She said by klicheres, it only comes tame, not yitma. So so it must be that he learns it out from Ayaz Lacham Misina or something like that, which tells us that no, a keli can be matame derivative tuma. Okay, so they're not from that pasuk over there. I'm not sure about that, but anyway. But that does seem to be what the Pnei Moshe was saying before, because the Pnei Moshe did say, I'm going to read two Pnei Moshe before. Akiva Kedaiti Dorsh Parakeh the Sot of Kli Cheres Kuli Hashem B'Soicha Yitma the Dorish Yitma Labtame Acher Divrei Torah Vilko Kamar Hacha the Mil say to Matame Acher. Therefore, the Kli here is Matame other things, right? So Tame the Shem which is put into it. And our Rebbe Zebulun's Loi the Mil say the Kamar Hacha Asvi Rabbi Yishmael the Polygalei Hasam the Avgay say Yishmael Midrash Yitma Acher Ba'Oichlin that one food cannot be Matame another food, which Rabbi Akiva learns over there from Yitma, because became the Midrash from somewhere, not from where. Yitma Tame Acher. So I have to figure out what the drush is going to be Shmuel, but I don't know if it's going for that same pasuk. Could be it's going to look like Moshe B'Sei, could be it's going for some other drasha. But here, because here we see again in the final analysis that the Kli Cheres itself, right, is not matame other things, right? Because we don't say Chayav Harei, and so don't say Chayav Harei Cholo by Kli Cheres because it says Tamei. It's matame. It's not matame other things, and Avi Kli Cheres is a separate halacha. Okay, halacha ches. Again, we did this in the relatively easiest possible way. I hope it makes sense without getting into all the complications which a lot of the Mefarshim, other than Pnei Moshe, bring down then from the Bavi. From here we learned from Rabbi Akiva, we learned an additional halacha. Pesach. You can burn Truma Tmeya, Torah Tmeya on at the time of being Erev Pesach. And so Korban explains 12 hours ibud, since they're going to go for a loss. Anyway, after turning the Torah one, Vasur Midaraisa. It's also Midaraisa. Lochan Lishin Shmirasa, you're not concerned with Shmira. Vahafagav Shmuzhain Ana Shmirasa Vitara the Ksivas Shmiras Tumasoi, not here. Okay, so he's taking even a step further without Tuma. Isser, right? And the Isser is like the Psul. And so just like the Apostle is allowed to burn with the Tomei, so it's the Isser allowed to burn with the Tomei. Rabbi Yosef said, Eini Amida. He disagrees. You can't, and the words will explain why not. You can't learn from the Tuma and from the Tful Yom to the case of Pesach. Moeder Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Sheshavin Zula Atzma. This is Rabbi Yosef saying. He says you have to burn them separately. Both Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yeshua say you have to burn each one independently. The Torah Truma and the Torah and Truma Tmeya even on Pesach. Aman Echluku. What do they have machlokas of Rabbi Yeshua? On tluya with tahira. Tluya with the man. Sorry, tluya matmeya. Tluya means it has a suffix tuma, and Torah is tamei is vaday tamei. Shabbalez met yisrael zulatzmo. The Rebbe says each is independently. Rabbi Yeshua Meir Shtein Kavos. Rabbi Yeshua says they burn both together, and I have to explain that, of course, when we get to the Gemara. But we're ready on Tessim Ralph.